I'd like to give a shout out to my parents, my grandparents, for keeping me going even when times are tough, just forcing me to do the things that I might not want to do, just keep on moving on.
My husband, my daughter, and another nice special person for me is my daughter's boyfriend. So they are my family here, and I love them very much.
And I want to shout out Kyle McKee, who's led the aviation program in a great way. So shout out to Kyle McKee.
I want to thank Catherine Kraft. She was really helpful through my 3 semesters that I took her.
I'm giving a shout out to Vivian and Marcia for helping me throughout the years to graduate at OTC.
I'd like to give a shout out to Miss Lisa Gardner for the culinary permit. She's very great.
I'm going to give a shout out to my son Jack and my dad, Big John, because my son's my inspiration. Going to school for him, and also my mom, who's no longer with us. I wish she was here to kind of see all this. So, yeah, that's my inspiration.
I'm giving a shout out to Jerry Graven. She was my Math 50 instructor. She was so patient and so kind with me through all my difficulties throughout the semester, so I just have a lot to thank her for.
And the person that I would like to shout out is Professor Dana Price. She teaches almost all the EMP classes, and she's been just a real treat to be a student of.
I have a shout out to Kirsten Markley, one of my computer programming professors, and my physics professor, Todd Van Gordon. And I'd like to shout them out because they supported me along the way, and they're really entertaining and fun to be in class with.
I'm shouting out my daughter Alea because I would not be here without her.
My name is Terry Mace, and I'd like to thank my friend Jackson. He's been my friend since high school, since elementary, 15 years of friendship, and he's been there since like day one. Always supported my dream of going to college.
Giving a shout out to my daughter for always supporting me.
I'm going to give a shout out to my lovely mother. She was a graphic designer just like me, and so it's going to be cool to be the next graphic designer in my family. So I want to shout out to her for being the best mom ever.
I'm giving my shout out to the biggest supporter I have, and that's my mother. And I've got 5 kids, so I want to shout out to them and thank them for dealing with mom going through school.
I want to give a shout out to my family, my instructors, Lisa, Chef Pliska, Scritchfield, all the instructors. I mean, they were all good to me. They helped me out along the way. I've learned a lot. It was a good time here.
I'm giving a shout out to my favorite teacher for pathophysiology, Miss Sherry Taylor.
I'm giving a shout out to Rhonda Buckner because she's really just been an amazing role model for me and like the rest of my students in my class, and overall just a great person to be around.
I'd like to give a shout out to Kat Alley. She's a great teacher and helped me through my time at OTC.
Good evening. If you are able, please remain standing. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2023 commencement ceremony of Ozarks Technical Community College. Tonight is a joyous and special night on which we celebrate together the academic achievement of our students. To the graduates in front of me and all of you, their family and friends, tonight is your night. But for all of us at OTC, the faculty, staff, administration, and board of trustees, it is also our night. Being here to witness the achievements of our students is an honor. Thank you, graduates, for choosing us to be a part of your journey. You have worked hard to reach this day, and we are all so proud of you. Thank you to all who are gathered here this evening to celebrate with us. I now welcome veteran graduate, Army Specialist Michael Prestwich, to lead us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Then, please remain standing for the national anthem sung by the OTC Concert Choir. Please remove your hats and direct your attention to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed?
Please be seated. We are pleased to welcome several honored guests to tonight's commencement ceremony. Joining me on the platform are key administrators of Ozarks Technical Community College, as well as our Board of Trustees. These leaders are vital in the continued success of our programs and of our students. I am grateful for the time and commitment they bring to the college and for their presence at today's ceremony. As I introduce them, please hold your applause until all platform guests have been introduced. In the front row, from my right to left, are Paula Adams, Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees; Howard Fisk, Member of the Board of Trustees; Paul Sunday, Chair of the Board of Trustees; Larry Snyder, Treasurer of the Board of Trustees; John Gentry, Member of the Board of Trustees; and Catherine Moore, Secretary of the Board of Trustees. In the back row, from my right to left, Drew Courtway, Chief Financial Officer; Dr. Dusty Childress, OTC Education Center's President; Dr. Rob Griffith, President, Table Rock Campus; Dr. Cliff Davis, President, Richwood Valley Campus; Rob Rector, Vice Chancellor for Administrative Services; Dr. Joan Barrett, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs; and Dr. Tracy McGrady, Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. Let's welcome them and thank them with a round of applause. The faculty and staff of the college have been critical to the educational process for our graduates. Many of these people are here tonight. Before I ask all of them to stand, I'd like to take a point of privilege. We have a few retiring faculty and staff members. If you're retiring from OTC tonight or this week or this month, please stand. Colleagues, we thank you for your service and we wish you the best in retirement. Now, if you are a faculty member or a staff member of OTC, please stand. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. Our graduates have counted on the support of their loved ones as they have worked toward their educational goals. The encouragement of family and friends has been instrumental in helping each of our graduates accomplish what we're here tonight to celebrate. Would the family and friends of our graduates please stand? Now, graduates, let's give them a hand. I'd also like to recognize the veterans and active military members with us tonight, both graduates and guests alike. If you're a veteran or active military, would you please stand to be recognized? Let's give them a hand. Thank you. Finally, thanks to the elected officials, area school board members, and community leaders who join us today. Your support of OTC and of Southwest Missouri students is most appreciated. Thank you all for coming. Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Paul Sunday, Chair of the Board of Trustees, a key player in the revitalization of downtown Springfield. Mr. Sunday is a local entrepreneur and co-owner and operator of Springfield's Big Whiskeys. After many years on the OTC Foundation Board, Paul was elected to the Board of Trustees in 2018. But his relationship with OTC began when he was a student back in 2001. Like you, he is a proud OTC graduate. He is the first OTC graduate to serve on the Board of Trustees and the first OTC graduate to serve as chair of the Board of Trustees. Please welcome Mr. Paul Sunday.
Thank you, Dr. Higdon. Graduates, I've been up here for 6 years, which it's kind of hard to believe, and I guess ultimately I get mesmerized by these words going across the board. Like, I don't know if there's somebody in a room somewhere just typing really fast. I mean, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Let's see. I don't see it. I don't see it. So in that 6 years, I've seen, about 5,000 plus graduates walk across this floor and their life change. I still don't see it. My son, he's getting ready to graduate on Sunday from Nixa, and they'll be graduating here, and he'll be walking across this floor as well. And I was thinking, they give me about 2.5 minutes. What could I say to anybody in 2.5 minutes that might resonate, might make you think a little longer? So I'm not really speaking just to the graduates. I'm speaking to everybody in the room. What I've learned in my 44 years on this earth is you have to learn to embrace change. The one thing that I can promise you that you do not have control of all the time is change. And the faster that you spend your time embracing change, the happier you will be as a human being. And how did I get there to that moment of embracing change? Even though sometimes it's not the best. Sometimes it's a new town. Sometimes it's a new job. Sometimes it's a new boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife. Sometimes it's, not the greatest things that happen, but you have to learn to embrace it. How did I get to that moment? So when I was about 9 years old, and I don't know if anybody in this room remembers it, but the Bazooka Joe bubble gum. I thought it was trash bubble gum, to be honest. I didn't think it was very good bubble gum. But the reason I liked them so much is they had these comic strips on them, and every piece of gum was wrapped with a comic. And at the bottom of that comic was like a fortune or a haiku or something that was really awesome. And when I was 9, I read this, and it kind of inspired me. And for some weird reason, I say it all the time to my family. I say it to my friends, and I guess in my best dad voice, the bottom of it said, "Change makes sense." You guys might not be good on the dad jokes yet. CENTS. Change makes sense. You will be good at the dad jokes because change happens in your life. So what I'm telling you is, from the Board of Trustees, as my last time being the chair up here, congratulations. As a former alum, welcome to the club. Cheers.
Thank you, Mr. Sunday. In a moment, we're going to hear from our choir, but I want to take a moment. Alberta Smith, our choir director extraordinaire, just returning from a triumphant tour with the choir to New York City, is retiring. And I want us to give a special thank you to Alberta and her great work. Alberta, my goal was to make you cry before you had to direct, so I don't know if I did that or not, but thank you for, good. I see the tears. Tonight, we're delighted to have members of our OTC Chamber Choir performing "I Love You, What a Wonderful World." Please enjoy.
Praying, I hear her saying, "I love you, I love you." People all over the world, they're opening up, they're coming around, and they're saying, "I love you, I 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 love you.
Bright, blessed day.
It is my pleasure to introduce Hayden Kroll, an OTC graduate who credits his educational journey with transforming his life. After high school, Hayden found himself feeling lost and unmotivated, but a chance meeting set him on a journey of self-discovery. 2 years later, Hayden hardly recognizes himself. Hayden has been heavily involved with the Office of Student Engagement as a student ambassador, where he enjoys giving tours, meeting new people from all walks of life, and sharing his love for the college. After OTC, he plans to pursue a bachelor's degree in media and film at Missouri State and hopes to become a director one day. Please join me in welcoming OTC's 2023 Commencement Student Speaker, Hayden Kroll.
Thank you, Dr. McGrady. Good evening. My name is Hayden Kroll, and I would like to share my journey with you and just how OTC has transformed my life. If you don't like the road you're walking on, pave a new one. You'll never do a whole lot unless you are brave enough to try. That is a quote from one of the most influential women in my life, Dolly Parton. And it's the theme of my personal OTC experience. Not unlike many of my fellow graduates, I've come to know that OTC is a community built on inspiring students to pave new paths. After graduating from Lebanon High School in 2021, I had no plan to go to college. To me, higher education had always been an idea that I tossed around but never made much effort towards. I was pretty unmotivated, and I didn't really have any clear direction in life. However, halfway through the summer after I graduated, my life changed the day that I met Maggie Shelton. At the time, Maggie was the director at the OTC location in Waynesville, and she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. On a hot July evening, she sat me down on a park bench at my nephew's baseball game, and she gave it to me straight. She said, "Hayden, you see where you're at right now, and I see where you could be." She kindly offered me a job with her working at OTC in student services, but with one condition. I had to start taking classes too. Needless to say, Maggie Shelton became another one of those influential women in my life. She delivered the kick I needed to really start taking my life seriously. So I did what Maggie and Dolly said, and I paved a new road of self-discovery. I began working the front desk in Waynesville, and for the first time, I started taking my education seriously. I learned how to be more responsible and professional, and I learned, more importantly, how to take myself seriously. I realized I was capable of a lot more than I gave myself credit for, and I started doing well in classes. I made friends that I cannot imagine my life without now. I got to make goofy movies about ghosts haunting my apartment with some of my best friends, and I got to play a Marvel villain for an acting class. I was thriving. A year later, I was feeling brave enough to pave a new road for myself. I left Waynesville with one of those friends I mentioned, and I became a student ambassador. Basically, I give tours of campus to all kinds of people, and that is where you see the spirit of OTC, extending kindness and building others up, no matter who they are. Regardless of what part of the college you're in, there's always someone overjoyed to help you or share how much they love their field. I can swing through welding and have an instructor gush about how much he loves it for a solid 20 minutes. Or there's been several times where I've gone through graphic design and I have random students stop me and say how much they love their program. Most of the time it's people I've never even met before, but they all want to pitch in and help you pave that new road. At OTC, I discovered that I too have that passion for building others up. I've surrounded myself with some of the kindest people who are all rooting for me, and I'm becoming just like them, building others up. That's something I could not have imagined a few years ago, and it's something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. I think some of my fellow graduates can say the same. So, no matter what road you're paving after this, I've learned it is critical to be kind. Another one of the most influential women in my life, Taylor Swift, once said, "No matter what happens in life, be good to people. Being good to people is a wonderful legacy to leave behind." That is a legacy that OTC instills in its students, and it's something that I will always be thankful for. In conclusion, my journey at OTC has been transformative, and it's a community that I'm proud to be a part of. I'll always be grateful for my time here, and especially thankful to Maggie for giving me the opportunity to pave that new road and live up to the ideals of Dolly and Taylor. Thank you.
Thank you, Hayden. The Ozarks Technical Community College Distinguished Alumni Award is presented to recognize and honor an alumnus for their accomplishments and professional success. Today, we honor Mr. Craig Dort with the Distinguished Alumni Award. Craig first stepped onto the OTC campus in 1997 as a Fordland High School student in the Career Center. In 2000, Craig won the Skills USA state competition in heating, refrigeration, and air. He retained his state title in 2001 and went on to win nationals. Craig then earned a spot on the United States World Skills team, and in the summer of 2003 traveled to Switzerland to compete against HVAC professionals worldwide. He finished 7th in the world. Not long after he graduated, Craig began working at Springfield Johnstone Supply, where he is still employed today. Please turn your attention to the screens to learn more about our Alumnus of the Year.
He was an ideal student. You know, he just really wanted to learn all he could about refrigeration, and he was always up for a challenge. He went all the way to nationals, and he got 4th place in nationals. And then the following year, in 2001, he actually got 1st place in nationals. Then he tried out for the international competition and won that. And so in 2003, he went to the international competition in Switzerland. That was awesome. That was basically the highlight of my teaching career, for sure.
I worked with him for almost 2 years at Johnstone, and during that time, I learned a lot from him. Even though I have many more years in the field than he did, he was just that type of person. He retained knowledge so well.
It's been a pleasure to work with Craig for the past 18 plus years, and we have a simple motto at Johnstone Supply. It's the right product at the right time at the right price by people who care. And Craig is certainly one of those that embodies he cares. He cares about his customers, and he cares about his employees that he works with, and he cares about the company.
Craig remains a member of our advisory committee and stays involved with that. We meet twice a year, and Craig's loyal to be here and support our mission. Always has great ideas and helps keep us current on industry standards and what's coming down the pipe.
Craig's one of them, you know, that really made something of himself after he got out of this program, you know. Again, his eagerness to learn, and just a great guy, and just gets along with people really well. Great personality. He's got a wonderful family, too. Yeah. So I'm proud of
him. Please welcome Craig Dort to the stage. Governor Mike Parsons' tenure as the governor of the great state of Missouri has been marked by significant contributions and unwavering support for higher education. Recognizing the crucial role that higher education plays in driving economic growth and preparing the workforce for the future, Governor Parson has increased funding for colleges and universities, ensuring we have the necessary resources to offer high-quality and affordable education. His advocacy for robust financial support has enabled OTC to enhance our programs, expand our facilities, and attract talented faculty, creating an environment conducive to academic support and achievement. Governor Parson has been a steadfast friend to OTC since his days in the State House and the State Senate as Lieutenant Governor and Governor. There has been no governor who has done more financially for higher education than Mike Parson. And it is my pleasure to welcome the 57th Governor of the state of Missouri, the Honorable Mike Parson.
Wow, what a crowd.
Man, it's great. I started out in Jeff City today, St. Louis, Kansas City, and I wouldn't rather be any place than Southwest Missouri talking to you, finishing up the day here for you students. Yeah. First of all, Dr. Higdon, that seems so unusual for me to call you Dr. Higdon because we're a little bit more on a first name basis for Hal and what he's done for OTC. And I want to give him, I want to give the board members that are behind me, the faculty, a lot of credit to bring OTC where it is today as a leader, not only in Missouri, but a leader in the nation. And I want to thank all of you for that, for what you're doing. And I want to tell all you students here tonight, I'm going to give you a little bit of a gray hair talking to tonight, as I might say to some of my own kids and my grandkids that have graduated, and how important I think you are to the future of our state, and how future I think you are to set the stage for the next generations, and how important this education is you receive. Because for a long time you've been called kids, and then you're called young adults. I got news for you. Once you walk out of here tonight, you're adults. And the world is yours to take. And that's the way I foresee the future of our state. I believe so much in the American dream. For someone that come from a very small town of 356 people. And my mom and dad were sharecroppers. Some of you will be wondering, what the world is a sharecropper? Ask your grandparents. Ask somebody that's got a little gray hair and they'll tell you, but I will tell you, they work for other people on their farms to try to raise a family. I was the youngest of 4 boys. In the world of material things, we didn't have much. But I didn't know we didn't, and most people around me didn't. But I knew I had to have an education. I did know that when I was in school. And if it hadn't have been for a couple of teachers, I'm not for sure I would have graduated, to be right honest about it. Because they took me under their wings, and in the day, pulled your hair, pulled on your ear, and got your attention a little bit to help me graduate out of school and to convince me I could be somebody, even when maybe I didn't have the confidence to know that. And they convinced me of the American dream. For most of you sitting in these chairs in front of me tonight, there's another group I want you to help me recognize tonight. And you'll get your due applause, you'll get your certificates, and your families will hoop and holler, and you're going to celebrate before the night's over. But I will tell you, there are special people in all our lives that make us better, that help us be better, to help us better to achieve goals. And a lot of them are in this stadium tonight. There are your moms and dads, your grandparents, their brothers and sisters, there's teachers, and there's preachers, and the list goes on. But if it wasn't for all of them that's supporting all of you, you probably wouldn't be sitting in those chairs tonight. So I would ask you to join me in saying thanks and show our appreciation for all the people that are here on your behalf tonight. There's one thing that I want all of you to leave here today. It's that in Missouri, the American dream is alive and it's well. And the only way you're going to get it is to work hard and utilize the education you have to be able to move forward. For me and the First Lady, I told you where I grew up, in that little town. Nobody ever wrote in my yearbook that I'd be the next governor of the state of Missouri. Nor did me or Teresa ever believe we'd be in front of you tonight talking to you as the governor of the state of Missouri. But the only way I got there, and it was a long road, it was service to my country in the United States Army. It was a law enforcement career over 22 years. It was owning gas stations, pumping gas, fixing tires, changing oil. Work hard and treat people right. And the one thing I can tell all of you that I want to stress to you, you have to treat people right. You have to be kind, no matter what the circumstances are. If you will remember that rule, just to be kind, life will be a much easier course for all of you to go down, as you well learned in that. Your achievements, you've all worked hard. Here you are. The next step you want to do is you want to go out in the workforce and you want to draw a pretty good check. Some of you are already working. Some of you have dreams of what you're going to do, whether it's healthcare, whether it's automotive, whether it's technology, whatever those opportunities are. But let me assure you what's waiting out there for you in this state. Last year, we increased the state of Missouri by $2.3 billion in new business and business expansions, and they are waiting on all of you to go out there and fill those jobs. And I want to give OTC a little credit here, and all the community colleges in our state. Missouri right now is number 3 in the United States of America in apprenticeship programs. Number 3. That's all of us. We are number 4 in manufacturing. We are number 7 in the United States in aerospace and automobile industry. And ladies, for all of you, Missouri is number 10 in technology in the United States. So I tell you, we are on the right track. And for me and Teresa, every day, it's about fighting to make sure you have opportunity, to work to make sure you're ready for the workforce and the workforce is ready for you. I think sometimes in the governor's office, I talk to my staff, and I've learned this in life, and you'll find that out. But it's never about being the best governor. That's not my goal. It's never about being the best president. It's never about being the best board. It's never about being the best professor. The secret to leadership and success is about making people around you better. That's what real leaders do. And they understand the quality in that. There's things we run across in lives. I tell you, the little things matter. The little things matter. You know 3 phrases I will tell you that's not said enough? And for some of us it's hard to say. Even for me it's hard to say sometimes. But let me tell you what those 3 are, and we need to say more of it. We need to learn to say thank you more often. We need to say I'm sorry more often. And we need to say I love you more often than what we do in this country. The small things matter in what we do. In today's world, I think we can still use that for a reminder. The small things in life matter, and being kind is one of the things that you will all leave here, and I hope you understand how important that is. No matter how educated you are, no matter what field you go into, it's about treating each other with kindness, and we need more of that in this country. In closing, let me tell all you graduates out there tonight, you know when the speaker, I'm going to teach you something tonight. Do you know when the speaker says in closing, 85% of the audience listens to you? In closing, I want to share with you the American dream. And I want to tell you a young man that inspired me and Teresa both one time. There's a program in the state of Missouri that me and her chair. Is for JAG students. Some of you may know what that is, and some of you may not. But it's for kids in high school that are basically at the point where they're going to drop out because of poverty, because of family issues, because they feel like they don't belong. And there's a program now that we have out there that we put these kids in this JAG program, and we put them in these programs, and we put them in a class where they deal with each other. They now have a 98% graduation rate of graduating from high school. But there was a young man one time. He got up and he was speaking in front of a bunch of people, a kid like that. He was nervous. He was worried. He had a pretty rough life. And he said in his speech, he said 10 two-lettered words. 10 two-lettered words. And it's about changing things in his life, changing things for the better for all of you. Those 10 two-letter words. If it is to be, it is up to me. If it is to be, it is up to me. I would tell you for everybody else in this arena tonight, I'm going to change one word. If the American dream is to be, it is up to us. In that little town I told you I grew up in, there was 2 American flags that flew in that town. There's one over the post office and one over the schoolhouse. Like just a while ago, what you did. We said the Pledge of Allegiance every morning in our classrooms. We stood up and put our hands over the heart when the Star-Spangled Banner was played and sang. And I grew up in that kind of atmosphere. But I did not realize the importance of those 2 things until I was in the United States Army. And I realized the importance of the American flag when it was on my sleeve. And what I realized at 19 years old, it was not about me. It was about all the people before me that wore the uniform, sacrificed so we could be here tonight. And the only reason you're here tonight is because of what people done before you. As a young soldier, it was all about the soldiers before me. And life in general is that way. And I learned things that are important. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence. And I will tell you those basic fundamentals have been passed down for over 240 years. Generation after generation after generation. And here you graduates sit tonight. I told you earlier, you're adults. It is your time. It's not my time anymore. It's your time to keep the American dream alive. And the only way the American dream will continue to be alive is through all of you that are here tonight. Through the knowledge you've gained, through tomorrow's beginnings, that's who we are in this country. And I want to congratulate all of you tonight for accomplishing something you might not have knew you was going to accomplish many years ago. But I look forward to you being part of Missouri, part of who we are in this state. And I wish all of you the very best. God bless, and as an honor, it is always a privilege to be the 57th governor of the great state of Missouri. God bless you, God bless Missouri, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you all very much.
Would the candidates of the graduating class of 2023 please stand? Dr. Higdon, these candidates have completed the necessary requirements for their chosen degree or certificate. It is with great pride that they are presented to you on behalf of the faculty of Ozarks Technical Community College.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority vested in me by the state of Missouri and the Board of Trustees of Ozarks Technical Community College, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree or certificate for which you have been recommended. Ladies and gentlemen, please hold your applause until all the graduates are recognized. We will now begin awarding the diplomas to the graduating class of 2023. Will all the candidates, except those on the front row, please be seated.
Denise Lancaster, Associate in Business with Honors. Alicia Walsh, Associate in Business with Honors. Pamela Dugan, Associate in Interdepartmental Studies. Michaela Killian, Associate in General Studies. Hayden Crawl, Associate in General Studies. Alicia Gaddy, Associate in Health Information Technology with Honors. Peyton Beeler, Associate in Early Childhood Development with Honors. Lei Zong, Associate in Culinary Arts with Honors. John Veith II, Associate in Electrical Engineering with Honors. April Bollinger, Associate in Computer Science with Honors. Autumn Seeley, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Jessica Chinoise, Associate in Behavioral Science with Honors. Brooklyn Sandoval, Associate in Teacher Education. Ray Jaden Alexa Stell, Associate in General Studies. Turi Parks, Associate in Welding Technology. Shane Jensen, Associate in Welding Technology with Honors. Colin Lamberson, Associate in Welding Technology. Alex Palmer, Associate in Welding Technology. Bailey Wells, Associate in General Studies. Tony Nguyen, Associate in General Studies. Elijah Conaway, Associate of Arts, General Studies. Adler Peterson, Certificate in Bioclinical Science. Samantha Beck, Associate of Arts, General Studies. Michael Prestwitz Jr., Associate in Criminal Justice with Honors. Faith Sheridan, Associate in Engineering with Honors. Michael Wallace Schaefer, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Tiffany Keith, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Luke William Keith, Certificate in Drafting and Design Technology with Honors. Sarah Rebecca Palmieri, Associate in Engineering with Honors. Christopher Rodolfi, Associate in Drafting and Design Technology with Honors. Arthur Proscopeno, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Safina Erst, Associate in Engineering with Honors. Faith Payne, Associate in Business. Grace Amsden, Certificate in Practical Nursing. Clarissa Fogelquist, Certificate in Practical Nursing with Honors. Nicole McQueen, Certificate in Practical Nursing. Selena Levin, Certificate in Clinical Medical Assistant. Jessica Rossi, Certificate in Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Robert McLaughlin, Certificate Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Kagan Williams, Certificate Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinctions. Kenneth Evans, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinctions. Ashley Corbett, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Stephanie Fearborn, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Curtis Morris, Associate in Electronic Media Production with Honors. Evan Gregory, Associate in Electronic Media Production with Honors. Kimberly Jett, Associate in Accounting and Business Management. Nola Stowe, Associate in General Studies. Sophie Lipchick, Associate in General Studies. Delea Watson, Certificate in Practical Nursing. Allison Davis, Certificate in Practical Nursing. Allison Weiss, Associate in Practical Nursing. Gabriela Gomez, Certificate in Practical Nursing. Abriana Denning, Certificate in Practical Nursing. Alyssa Johnson, Certificate in Practical Nursing. Maya Westberg, Certificate in Practical Nursing. David McVeigh, Certificate in Practical Nursing. Bo Cartwright, Certificate in Practical Nursing with Honors. Connor Trokey, Certificate in Drafting and Design Technology with Honors. Melissa Costello, Associate in Bioclinical Science. Rhiannon Wells, Associate in Behavioral Science. Brady Burton, Associate with Information Technology with honors. Alex Sullivan, Associate in General Studies. Denton Wilson, Associate in Bioclinical Science and Business with honors. Antonia Jones, Associate in General Studies. Breonna Sharp, Associate in General Studies. DeAndre Carter, Associate in Culinary Arts. Joanna Reeder, Associate in Business. Ashley Hash, Certificate in Early Childhood Development with honors. Taylor Keith, Associate in Teaching. Wayne Clough, Certificate in Auto Collision Repair Technology. Riley Pierce, Associate in General Studies with honors. Elizabeth Brewster, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with distinction. Garrison Gierak, Associate in Automotive Technology. Michael Blaine, Associate in Diesel Technology. Adam Breimer, Associate in Diesel Technology with honors. Nathan Scott, Associate in Diesel Technology with honors. David Pichota, Associate in Diesel Technology with honors. Trayton Townsend, Associate in Auto Collision Repair Technology with honors. Benjamin Nessler, Associate in Auto Collision Repair Technology with honors. Corinthia Tyler, Associate of Applied Science, Accounting, Business, and Management. Caden Ray, Associate in General Studies with honors. Alexandria Boucher, Associate in General Studies with honors. Farrah Leon, Associate in Interdepartmental Studies. Rachel Barnett Christian, Certificate in Administrative Assistance. Bailey Brooks, Associate in Business. Noah Evans, Associate in Business. Grant Jones, Certificate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning. Jaden Dale Lane Underwood, Certificate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning with honors. Hadley Randall Louderbaugh, Certificate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning with honors. Helena Renee Taylor, Certificate in Early Childhood Development. Hannah Vimont, Associate in Business and Marketing with honors. Ariel Randall, Associate in Behavioral Health Support. John Rush III, Associate in Automotive Technology. Michael Burnson, Associate in Drafting and Design Technology. Angela McDonald, Associate in Business with honors. Brentlin Hendley, Associate in Business and Information Technology with honors. Elijah Cornelius, Certificate Electrical Technician. Jaden Cornelius, Certificate in Welding Technology, Stainless. Robert Monier III, Certificate in Heating, Refrigeration, Air Conditioning with honors. Alyssa Haken, Associate in General Studies with honors. Kayla Patton, Associate in Electronic Media Production. Tori Bryant, Associate in Electronic Media Production in General Studies with honors. Catherine Wickwar, Associate in Biology. Megan Wilson Gilbert, Associate in General Studies with honors. Jadrian Hyatt, Associate in General Studies. Darren Douglas Bowling, Associate in Fire Science Technology with honors. Danielle Rodriguez, Associate in General Studies. Shannon Russell, Associate in General Studies with honors. Allison Glenn, Associate in Criminal Justice. Sadie Rose Albright, Associate in Social Work with honors. Nolan Winston Enbrecht, Associate in Teaching with honors. Spencer Whitman, Associate in Electronic Media Production with honors. Alexander Smith, Associate in General Studies. Cheyenne Felix, Certificate Clinical Medical Assistant with distinction. Takaya Collins, Associate in Criminal Justice with honors. Emily Scalisi, Associate in General Studies. Paleo DeGredo, Associate in Business with honors. Nathan Williams, Certificate in Drafting and Design Technology. Ashley Carter, Certificate in Coding Specialist with honors. Cayman Kaufman, Certificate in Electronic Media Production.
Christopher Peoples. Douglas R. Bergen, Certificate in Electronic Media Production. Jaden Purrier, Certificate in Electronic Media Production. Taylor Cribbs, Certificate in Electronic Media Production with honors. Barbara Lynn Davis, Associate in Accounting and Business Management. Alexandria Dawn Lewis, Associate in Criminal Justice. Amy Wheeler, Associate in General Studies. Tyler Mann, Associate of Applied Science, Baking and Pastry. Barney Griffin, Associate in Manufacturing Technology. Patrick McNeven, Associate in Manufacturing Technology. Buford Jones, Associate in Manufacturing Technology. Kayla Morton, Associate in Manufacturing Technology with Honors. Kenneth Lang, Certificate in Automotive Technology. Alicia Shaylin Alvarado, Associate in Behavioral Science. Connie Russell, Associate in Graphic Design Technology. David Bradfield Parker, Associate in General Studies. Alexandria Douglas, Certificate in Welding Technology Structural with Honors. Braden Furborn, Certificate in Diesel Technology. Levi Hobson, Certificate in Diesel Technology with Honors. Austin Brakebill, Certificate in Welding Technology Stainless with Honors. Ashley Wesenberg, Associate in Teaching. Anna Sarai Bunner, Associate in Culinary Arts, Baking and Pastry with Honors. Autumn Liana McKesry, Associate in Behavioral Science. Isabella Nicole Miller, Associate in General Studies. Alethea Steemick, a Certificate in Manufacturing Technology. Joshua King, Associate in Manufacturing Technology. Bonita Clancy, Associate in Social Work. River Brockman, Associate in Social Work. Audra Marie Grauberger, Associate in Business with Honors. Emmanuel Jean Crouch, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Ryan O'Lean Williams, Associate in General Studies. Kaysen Dame, Associate in Social Work. Jessica Epps, Associate in Business with Honors. Josie Mae West, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Caitlin Lyle, Associate in General Studies. Don Denley II, Associate in Computer Information Science with Honors. Noah Brian Ridenour, Associate in General Studies with Honors. William Oliver, Associate in Culinary Arts. Nicole Ann Schmidt, Associate in Early Childhood Development with Honors. Allie McDonald, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Quinn Scrivener, Associate in Computer Science. Chloe Gertner, Specialization in Computer Information Science Web Development with Honors. Megan Therese Dyer, Associate in Business with Honors. Calvin Wade Lindsay, Associate in Welding Technology. Matt Neal, Associate in Welding Technology with Honors. Cheryl Ferrier, Certificate in Automotive Technology with Honors. Linda Neal, Certificate in Automotive Technology. Thomas Robb, Associate in Business and Marketing. Jane Tralia Duncan, Associate in Industrial Systems Technology with Honors. Torin Moore, Associate in Mechatronics with Honors. David Ferguson, Associate in Social Work with Honors. Brandon Ray, Associate in General Studies. Ryan Dame, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with Honors. Andrew Haviland, Certificate in Welding Technology Structural. Michael Harmon, Associate in General Studies. Ivy Pokaigwe, Associate in Early Childhood Development. Daniel James Dove, Associate in Information Technology Infrastructure. Garrett Moore, Associate in English. Randy Acklin, Associate in Accounting and Business Management with Honors. Deanna Chapman, Associate in Graphic Design Technology. Hilario Martinez, Certificate in Diesel Technology. Hunter Rankin, Certificate in Diesel Technology. Trey Hoover, Certificate in Diesel Technology. Ethan Sissel, Certificate in Automotive Technology. Darren Banfield, Certificate in Automotive Technology. Mahala Keller, Associate in Business with Honors. Sydney Rose Umbaugh, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Devin Peterson, Associate in Business and Marketing. Daniela Jumawan, Associate in Bioclinical Science. Lisbeth Padron, Associate in Teacher Education with Honors. Sarah Moog, Associate in Biological Clinical Science. Madison Reese, Associate in General Studies. Mason Garrett Williams, Associate in Criminal Justice. Ariel Crichton, Associate in Criminal Justice. Bethany Renshaw, Associate in Business. Julian Penner, Associate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning with honors. Angela Mae Ramsey, Associate in Social Work with honors. Will Matherly, Certificate in Electrical Technician. Emma Hammond, Associate in Social Work. Dominique Lachey Moore, Associate in General Studies with honors. Eric Karn, Certificate in Precision Machining Technology. Hallie Dampier, Associate in Dental Assisting. Reed Hartzell, Associate in Dental Assisting. Emily Yost, Associate in General Studies. Alexandra Moore, Associate in Behavioral Science. Eric Morgan, Associate in Computer Science with honors. Gavin Nasir Robinson, Associate in Criminal Justice. Sincere Galarza, Associate in Business. Marco Hernandez, Certificate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning. Jackson Tyler Cross, Certificate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning with honors. Dylan Bauman, Certificate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning. Clyde Lee Williams, Associate in Business. Hannah Walker, Associate in Accounting and Business Management. Jessica Sue Walker, Associate in Health Information Technology. Tracy Boucher, Associate in Health Information Technology. Memphis Carter, Certificate in Diesel Technology with honors. Shelby Lynn Rice, Associate of Applied Science, Dental Assisting. Crystal Wells, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Cassidy Baker, Associate in Dental Assisting. Haley Perry, Associate in Dental Assisting. Grace Ann Reinhardt, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Esther Majerus, Associate of Applied Science, Dental Assisting. Kelsey Turner, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Hannah Sires, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Morgan Nadine Irvin, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Megan O'Hagan, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Marissa Withrow, Associate in Dental Assisting. Annika Stevenson, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Amanda Hudson, Associate in General Studies with honors. Kate Holbert, Associate in General Studies. John Anno, Associate in Electronic Media Production with honors. Bella Mae Lang Trinidad, Associate in General Studies. Tiffany Williams, Associate in General Studies. Megan Joy Burnham, Associate in General Studies with honors. Nahimia Bryan, Associate of Arts, General Studies. Isabella Cowell, Associate in Teaching with honors. Vanessa Horn, Associate in Social Work with honors. Logan Parsons, Certificate in Diesel Technology. Colby Stockstill, Certificate in Diesel Technology. Emma Rayanne Henderson, Associate of Arts, Teacher Education. Emma Tracy, Associate of Dental Assisting. Carly Nicole Browning, Associate in Dental Assisting. Morgan Lynn Haley, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Katrina Isabella Drake, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Elizabeth Ayers, Associate in Dental Assisting. Emily Grace Hinton, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Riley Rodas, Associate in Dental Assisting. Riley Mosman, Associate in Dental Assisting. Miranda Nicole Rotert, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Belinda K. Chaplin, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Alicia Garcia, Associate in Dental Assisting with honors. Shelby Randall, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with distinction. Carson Richard Hertzler, Associate in Hearing Instrument Science. Sophia Nurnberg, Associate in General Studies with honors. Tyra Fisher, Associate in General Studies. Trinity Gerbrandt, Associate in General Studies. Tuan Sayre, Associate in General Studies with honors. Abigail Cox, Associate in General Studies. Hannah Terrell, Associate in General Studies. Morgan Rozier, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Cassandra Courtney, Associate in General Studies. Brian Schmitz, Associate in General Studies. Mario Asimoniese, Associate in General Studies. James Rye, Associate in General Studies. Cheryl Johnson, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Danelle Coleman, Associate in Health Information Technology. Landon Stein, Associate in General Studies. Morgan Blom, Associate in Teacher Education. Keely Plummer, Associate in General Studies. Jordan Rawlings, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Autumn Jaylene Hogan, Associate in Teacher Education.
Tamitra Knighton, Associate in Criminal Justice. Amber Harrison, Associate in General Studies. Emma Thompson, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Brendan Barber, Associate in Electronic Media Production with Honors. Brooke Barber, Associate in Electronic Media Production with Honors. Aubrey Sorrell, Associate in Business with Honors. Cameron Lee Barnes, Associate in Business and Marketing with Honors. Lindsay Federhoff, Associate in Behavioral Science with Honors. Olivia Marshall, Associate in General Studies. Paige Alexandra Roberts, Associate in General Studies. Chad Allen Moore, Associate in Business. Noah Scott, Certificate in Computer Information Science. Kelvin Gasora, Associate in Hospitality Management. Richard McClellan, Associate in General Studies. Jaden Renee Scott, Associate in Hearing Instrument Science. Olivia Marie Ballard, Associate in Hearing Instrument Science. Monica Durbin, Associate in Hearing Instrument Science with Honors. Isaac Willis, Certificate in Diesel Technology. Peyton Reynolds, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Caitlin Opal Holt, Associate in General Studies. McKenna Robinson, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Jessica Logan, Associate in Business. Olivia Wagner, Associate in Interdepartmental Studies. Claire Forster O'Neill, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Jalika Danae Lane, Associate in Criminal Justice. Silas Hicks, a Certificate in Construction Technology. Zachary William Supps, Associate in Construction Technology. Kristen Sullivan, Associate in Criminal Justice. Christina Beller, Associate in Business. Hannah Thomas, Associate in Business Accounting and Business Management. Patrick Frey, Associate in Business. Corey Beaver, Associate in Welding Technology. Cassandra Macklin, Associate in Business and Marketing and Biology. Dustin Richard Lee Bolt, Associate in General Studies. Gracie Jean Bolt, Associate in General Studies. Cheyenne Looney, Associate in Social Work with Honors. Alexis Krupp, Associate in General Studies. Sabrina Van Winkle, Certificate in Early Childhood Development. Lorena Reeves, Certificate in Network Technology with Honors. Violet McClellan, Certificate in Early Childhood Development. Macy Bartlett, Associate in Business. Laura Williams, Associate in Accounting and Business Management. Mason Baxter, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with Honors. Kobe Frederick, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with Honors. Cade Williams, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with Honors. Osio Alvada, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with Honors. Andre Alvada Garcia, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with Honors. Cody Hedgdick, Associate in Electrical Systems with Honors. Lane Wilson, Associate in Electrical Distribution System with Honors. Adam Bass, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with Honors. Maxwell Hunter, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with Honors. Trevin Center, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with honors. Elias Duncan, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with honors. Lauren Thomas, Associate in Criminal Justice with honors. Heather Grayson, Associate in Culinary Arts, Baking and Pastry with honors. Dwight Eden, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems. Kyle Collison, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with honors. Cody Smith, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with honors. Adam Waters, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with honors. Cole Beelier, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with honors. Grant Stewart, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with honors. Wyatt Williams, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with honors. Trevor Hill, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems. Trevor Copeland, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with honors. Tanner Chapman, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems. Aaron Christian, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems. Ty Deal, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with honors. Logan Meyer, Associate in Electronic Media Production. Nicole Summers, Associate in Agriculture. Amanda Clemens, Associate in Teacher Education. Andrew Metz, Associate in Networking Technology. Aubrey Gubaranksi, Associate in Business with honors. Herschel Townsend Jr., Certificate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning. Ralph Hale III, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems. Corey Franz, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems with honors. Brody Tex McDaniel, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems. Riley Newsom, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems. Logan Tolliver, Associate in Bioclinical Science. Corbin Faust, Associate in Drafting and Design Technology. Christian Sedgwick, Associate in Culinary Arts. Carrie DeVolt, Associate in Early Childhood Development. Lainey Peck, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Jody Evans, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Savannah Hand, Certified Medical Assistant with Distinction. Madeline Burrows, Certified Clinical Assistant with Distinction. Catherine Sorensen, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Savannah Loofborough, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Wade Andrew Thomas Jr., Associate in General Studies with honors. Kelly Thomas, Associate in Social Work with honors. Toby Friend, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems. Tanner Gordon, Associate in Electrical Distribution Systems. Morgan Donovan, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Ren Altizer, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Michaela Green, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Brittany Craig, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction.
Okay.
Madison Scott, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Brooklyn Elsmore, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Shelby May, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Sierra Aranda, Certification Medical Assistant. Hannah Bridgewater, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Carolyn Darrow Mouse, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Logan Watson, Certificate in Precision Machining Technology. Anthony Wallace, Associate in Diesel Technology. Alicia Leanne Rutledge, Associate in Social Work with honors. Trish Chastain, Associate in Social Work with honors. Billy Sublett, Associate in Agriculture with honors. Lacey Holland, Associate in Surgical Technology.
Hold on.
This basket's getting... Sherry Lee, Associate in Surgical Technology. Alicia Underwood, Associate in Surgical Technology. Kaylee Harris, Associate in Surgical Technology. Kalei Hong Amba, Associate in Surgical Technology. Deborah Haddock, Associate in Surgical Technology. Mackenzie Lutz, Associate in Teacher Education. We've got a new basket. Cara Doran, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Luke Lyndon Connor, Associate in Drafting Design Technology with honors. Kayla Bryant, Associate in Early Childhood Development. Rebecca Thompson, Associate in Behavioral Science with honors.
Jennifer Myers, Associate in General Studies with honors. Hannah Johnson, Associate in Culinary Arts, Baking and Pastry. Braden Collins, Associate in General Studies. Connor Rinkenmeyer, Associate in Criminal Justice. Raylee Alexis Crockett, Associate in General Studies. Joseph Quiles, Associate in Information Technology Infrastructure. Elijah Alexander Matthew Cook, Associate in Information Technology Infrastructure with honors. Logan Reichert, Certificate in Networking Technology with honors. Ryan Scott Medlock, Associate in General Studies with honors. Joel Parker Mason, Associate in Business with honors. Cordy Lawrence Hendricks, Associate in Business. Brady Ford, Associate in Business and Marketing. Eliana Marie Borbe, Associate in Social Work with honors. Ethan Allstrand, Associate in Computer Information Science. Tanner Cole Mays, Associate in Business and Marketing. Kaylin Keen Dooley, Associate in General Studies. Christina Whitney Cox, Associate in Criminal Justice with honors. Cora Rule, Certificate in Early Childhood Development with honors. Gracie Nelson, Certificate in Early Childhood Development. Chantel Ashley Cully, Associate in Computer Information Science with honors. Emily Rice, Associate in General Studies. Nathan James Daniels, Associate in Business. Ashley Brianne Mutersbach, Associate in Criminal Justice. Narcissa Paduretz, Associate in Teaching with honors. Tristan Joseph Murphy, Associate in Welding Technology. Alexander Frazier, Certificate in Welding Technology Structural. Danielle Elizabeth Schultz, Associate in English. Lillian Loonsfoot, Associate in Teacher Education with honors. Isaac Shelley, Associate in Behavioral Health Support. Angel Sloop, Associate in Behavioral Science. Adriana M. Horton, Associate in Social Work with honors. Christian Saquest Clark, Associate in General Studies. Emily Kennedy, Certificate in Early Childhood Development with honors. Jasmine Espinoza Geringer, Certificate in Early Childhood Development with honors. Natalie House, Certificate in Early Childhood Development with honors. Kimberly Allen Meza, Certificate in Early Childhood Development with honors. Ashlyn Herod, Associate in Teacher Education with honors. Jessica Holmes, Associate in Interdepartmental Studies. Jordan Lawrence, Associate in Business. Anna Grace Luna, Associate in General Studies. Abdul Rahim Intakab, Associate in General Studies. Macy Deanne Scott, Associate in Business. Macy Luz, Associate in Business. Brianna Stewart, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Braxton Strain, Associate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning. Kaylee Hernandez, Associate in Business. Kendrick Edwards, Associate in Business with honors. Isaac Douglas Harmon, Associate in Business. Olivia Donovan, Associate in Accounting and Business Management. Brianna Jade Avant, Associate in General Studies with honors. Macy Hughes, Associate in Business. Selena Rianto, Associate in Business with honors. Jay Strasbaugh, Associate in General Studies with honors. Mason Hill, Associate in Business and Marketing. Taylor Nicole Gold, Associate in General Studies. Michaela Evans, Associate in Teacher Education. Corbin Lodge, Associate in Business. Melissa Thompson, Associate in General Studies. Amber Tyndall, Certificate in Coding Specialist. Tyler Joseph Trebbing, Associate in Electrical Technician. Martin Bowman, Associate in General Studies with honors. Robert Lee, Associate in General Studies with honors. Victoria Lynn Vincent, Associate in General Studies. Paige Colonia, Associate in Business with Honors. August Toms, Associate in Business. Oksana Rotar, Associate in Accounting and Business Management with Honors. Claire Lauren Ronchetti, Associate in General Studies. Charity Choates, Certificate in Early Childhood Development with Honors. Kayana Prike, Associate in Business. Brianna Marie Krab, Associate in Behavioral Science. Libby Strickler, Associate in General Studies. Martha Norman, Associate in Business with Honors. Bethany Cassandra Wolf, Associate in Early Childhood Development. Amanda Danielle Scarborough, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Ricky Hankins, Certificate in Automotive Technology. Jenna Scaletti, Certificate in Diesel Technology with Honors. Connor Trussell, Certificate in Auto Collision Repair Technology with Honors. Abby McDonald, Associate in Behavioral Science with Honors. Alexis Page Adams, Associate in Business. Jonathan McCarty, Certificate in Diesel Technology. Alyssa Loves, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Sarah Benson, Associate in Social Work with Honors. Cheyenne Herrera, Associate in General Studies. Joshua Stephen Sanders, Associate in Construction Technology. Garrett McNelly, Associate in Construction Technology with Honors. Julie Alexandra Avalos, Associate in Construction Technology with Honors. Zaid Allen Caldwell, Certificate in Automotive Technology. Joshua Dale Porter, Associate in Computer Information Science. Terry Jean Fox, Associate in Accounting and Business Management. Tricia Spear, Associate in Accounting and Business Management. Alexander Doherty, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Aaron Kurtz, Certificate in Welding Technology, Stainless with Honors. Brianna Monday, Associate in General Studies. Nathan Poindexter, Associate in Teacher Education. Skylar Freya, Associate in Bioclinical Science. Reese Vess, Associate in Biology. Emma Valora Suzer, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Natalie Ray Willis, Associate in Teaching with Honors. Madison Combs, Associate in General Studies. Ashton Elizabeth Amelung, Associate in General Studies. Samuel Lewis Sinclair, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Christina Roberts, Associate in Health Information Technology. Stephen Workman McLaughlin, Associate in General Studies in Graphic Design Technology. Jennifer Barninger, Associate in General Studies. Tyler Andrew Bailey, Associate in Culinary Arts with Honors. Sarah Lynn Smith, Associate in Culinary Arts, Baking and Pastry and General Studies with Honors. Shauna Volner, Associate in Electronic Media Production. Savannah Bryn Peterson, Associate in General Studies. Kaylee Rianne Sewell, Associate in General Studies. Mercedes Jewel Fry, Associate in Criminal Justice. Mara Rose Pardo, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Ethan Charles Lewis Dubois, Associate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning. Michael Scott Saucedo, Associate in Computer Science. Ian Mitchell Northway, Associate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning. Emily Page Scott, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Mackenzie McCurdy, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Caitlin Nicole Fisher, Associate in Business. Colin Archer, Associate of Arts, General Studies. Alexis Wolf, Associate in Biological Clinical Science. Caitlin Morrow, Associate in General Studies. Abigail Fowler, Associate in General Studies with Honors. Emiliano Baird, Associate in General Studies. Hudson Holt, Associate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning. Ella Fabro, Associate in Social Work with Honors. Preston Schaefer, Associate in Behavioral Science with Honors. Jasmine Isabel Garcia, Associate in Teacher Education with Honors. Hannah Swanson, Associate in Agriculture with Honors. Amelia Brower, Associate in General Studies. Joshua Wayland Bren, Associate in Criminal Justice. Samara Reagan, Associate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning. Braden McMeekin, Certificate in Auto Collision Repair Technology. Amelia Sue Danielle Schmidt, Certificate in Welding Technology Stainless with honors. Kara Brianne Goodman, Associate in Hospitality Management. Tierra Sapphire Schneider, Associate in Hospitality Management. Rachel Nina Franklin, Associate in Culinary Arts, Baking and Pastry with honors. Catherine Clarita Luno, Associate in Culinary Arts. Mary Barnett, Associate in General Studies. Harmony Kelly, Associate in Culinary Arts. McKenna Angeli Baldwin, Associate in Culinary Arts. Madeline Summers, Associate in General Studies. Erica Han, Associate in Teacher Education and General Studies. Tiana Lucy Gordon, Associate in Construction Technology with honors. Haley Patrine Flores, Associate in Construction Technology with honors.
Travis Johnson, Associate in Construction Technology. Benjamin Plunk, Associate in Automotive Technology. Matthew Daines, Associate in Graphic Design Technology. Joshua Seth Klingman, Associate in Graphic Design Technology with honors. Cara Avery, Associate in Graphic Design Technology. Aspasia Lynn, Associate in Graphic Design Technology. Cecily Wright, Associate in Graphic Design Technology. Isaiah Leak, Associate in Graphic Design Technology with honors. Caitlin Dillon Engel, Associate in Behavioral Science with honors. Gracie Warner, Associate in Criminal Justice. Teresa Padilla, a Certificate in Bioclinical Science. Courtney Round, Associate in Business. Tristan Salvador, Associate in Pre-Pharmacy. Dylan Green, Associate in Business and Marketing. Lou Smith, Associate in General Studies with honors. Amelia Lay, Associate in Chemistry with honors. Justin Crabtree, Associate in Computer Science with honors. Bradley Bateman, Associate in Biology and Mathematics with honors. Suzanne Jackson, Associate in Bioclinical Science with honors. Jana Mooneyham, Associate in Computer Information Science with honors. Amber Busey, Associate in Graphic Design Technology with honors. Sean Pettit, Associate in Interdepartmental Studies. Anna Mouse, Associate in Graphic Design Technology with honors. Tyler Lynch, Associate in Graphic Design Technology with honors. Miles Rosian, Associate in Graphic Design Technology. Destiny Hatley, Associate in Graphic Design Technology. Svetlana Rupert, Associate in Graphic Design Technology with honors. Alex Ruth Dietz, Associate in Graphic Design Technology. Eleazar Mulliken, Associate in Graphic Design Technology. Emily Welch, Associate in Graphic Design Technology with honors. Jasmine Lejeune, Associate in Graphic Design Technology with honors. Coleman Baker, Associate in Graphic Design Technology with honors. Jessica Zeppenfeld, Associate in General Studies. Crystal Reed, Associate in Teaching with honors. Arabella Lewis, Associate in Computer Science with honors. Aveline McIntyre, Associate of Computer Science with honors. Tanner Luganbill, Associate in Information Technology. Riley Head, Certificate in Welding Technology, Structural. Sarah Smith, Associate in General Studies. Rebecca Lynn Preston, Associate in Social Work with honors. Sarah Reed, Associate in General Studies. Nicole Flannery, Associate in Health Information Technology. Nicholas Suttereth, Associate in Criminal Justice with honors. Hunter Browning, Associate in Graphic Design Technology. Jody Walker, Associate in Auto Collision Repair Technology. Tyler Brown, Associate in Manufacturing Technology. Jasmine Muriel Laney Page, Certificate Automotive Technology. Adam Phillips, Associate in Precision Machining Technology with honors. Madeline Kuskell, Associate in Teacher Education with honors. Jacob Kuskell, Associate in Precision Machining Technology with honors. Solomon Council, Associate in Precision Machining Technology and Manufacturing Technology with honors. Stephen Haight, Associate in Precision Machining Technology with honors. Nicole Armstrong, Associate in Business with honors. Samantha Marsden, Associate in General Studies. Grace DeGoss, Associate in Business Accounting and Management with honors. Todd Murdas, Certificate in Drafting and Design Technology with honors. Tiffany Beard, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant. Edwin Joseph Garten, Associate of Applied Science and Culinary Arts, Baking and Pastry and Hospitality Management with honors. Rachel Kahaj, Associate in Culinary Arts, Baking and Pastry. Kayla Hogan, Associate in Culinary Arts. Cinda Worley, Associate in Criminal Justice. Megan Lunsford, Associate in Teacher Education. Brady Pearsall, Associate in General Studies with honors. Cameron Taylor, Associate in General Studies. Abigail Millington, Associate in Business. Max McGrady, Associate in General Studies. Abella Gutierrez, Associate in Accounting and Business Management with honors. Titus Taylor, Associate in General Studies with honors. Lily Christina Josat, Associate in Arts General Studies. Joseph Warren Hickman, Associate in Health Information Technology. Chris Allen Mitchell, Associate in Health Information Technology. Crystal Perkins, Specialization in Computer Information Science, Computer Programming with honors. George Perkins, Associate in General Studies. Braden Boyd, Associate in Diesel Technology. Isaac Williams, Certificate in Drafting and Design Technology. Heather Friend, Associate in Bioclinical Science. Crystal Brown, Associate in Criminal Justice. Hir Patel, Associate in Biology. Viola Gullivan, Associate in Business with honors. Anita Gullivan, Associate in Aviation Flight Technology with honors. Ryan Cusey, Association in Aviation Technology Flight with honors. Susan Iavolo, Associate in Teacher Education. Patience Iavolo, Associate in Behavioral Science. Maimuna Bellator, Associate in Business. Tamara Clausen, Associate in General Studies. Sarah Burks, Associate in Business. Amelia Atkinson, Associate in Agriculture. Danielle Ledgerwood, Certificate Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Kara Prince, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Talika Shea, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Amy Denning, Associate in Social Work with honors. Miranda Cooper, Certified Clinical Medical Assistant with Distinction. Susanna Chambers, Associate in Accounting and Business Management. Logan Hallemeyer, Associate in Business and Marketing. Taylor Shepperly, Associate in General Studies. Jesse Laxton, Associate in Business with Arts. Leanne Morrow, Associate in Interdepartmental Studies. Shelby Fairman, Associate in Early Childhood Development. Madison Curriton, Certificate in Early Childhood Development with honors. Josie Lane, Associate in Behavioral Support. Amy Churchill, Associate in Behavioral Health Support with honors. M. Deanna Flagger, Associate in Behavioral Health Support. Allison May Cochran, Associate in Dental Hygiene with honors. Ashley Beal, Associate in Dental Hygiene. Jessamine Baker, Associate in Dental Hygiene with honors. Leah Breedlove, Associate in Dental Hygiene with honors. Ruth Castro, Associate in General Studies. Adelie Dunn, Associate in Agriculture with honors. Jonathan Godswa, Associate in Business with honors. Ryan Houlihan, Associate in Aviation Flight Technology.
Drew Woodward, Associate in Aviation Flight Technology. Courtney Leah, Associate in Aviation Flight Technology with honors. Sarah Catherine Grant, Associate in Aviation Flight Technology. Trinity Zind, Associate in Aviation Flight Technology. Denise Lowry, Associate in Behavioral Health Support with honors. Alex Miller, Associate in Hospitality Management. Grant Alec McCormick, Associate in Industrial Systems Technology with honors. Paige Jones, Associate in Accounting and Business Management. Deja Sandoval, Associate in Bioclinical Science with honors. Jessica Nguyen, Certificate in Bioclinical Science. Emily Farmer, Associate in General Studies. Francis Day, Associate in General Studies. Michelle Kenya Granados, Associate in Social Work with honors. Yahir Gail Vasquez, Associate in General Studies. Abby Lauren Wade, Associate in General Studies with honors. Braden Jeffrey Trammell, Associate in Behavioral Science. Aubrey Clemish, Associate in Social Work with honors. Raspberry Hogg, Associate in General Studies. Emily Jo Robbins, Associate in General Studies. Andrew DePaul Rice, Associate in Automotive Technology with honors. Alyssa Curtis, Associate in Dental Hygiene with honors. Grace Bredensteiner, Associate in Dental Hygiene with honors. Sierra Marie Carter, Associate in Dental Hygiene with honors. Brittany Diamond, Associate in Dental Hygiene. Ashton Miller, Associate in Dental Hygiene with honors. Lacey Kaylin Banks, Associate in Dental Hygiene with honors. Jessica Bennett, Associate in Dental Hygiene with honors. Abby Joy Van Hatesma, Associate in Dental Hygiene with honors. Alexis Simpson, Associate in Early Childhood Development with honors. Kayla Marie Howell, Associate in Criminal Justice. Peyton Kuhlman, Associate in General Studies. Mackenzie Ann Dodson, Associate in General Studies with honors. Melinda Miller, Associate in Nursing with honors. Sarah Tulloch, Associate in Nursing. Elaine Chavez, Associate of Science in Nursing. Justin Muller, Associate in Criminal Justice. Austin Joplin, Associate in Criminal Justice. Tyler Lawson, Associate in Electronic Media Production with honors. Jackson Sargent, Associate in Welding Technology with honors. Jacob Dalton, Certificate in Automotive Technology. Jamie Michelle Ost, Associate in Medical Laboratory Technician. Logan Edwards Cothra, Associate in Medical Laboratory Technician. Emily Jorgensen, Associate in Medical Laboratory Technician with honors. Paige Marie Robertson, Associate in Medical Laboratory Technician. Ashlyn Shark, Associate in Medical Laboratory Technician. Skylar Copeland, Associate in Medical Laboratory Technician. John Christian Griffin, Associate in Accounting and Business Management with honors. Lehoy Alford, Associate in Business. Laura Brown, Associate in Paramedicine. Kayla Marie Semler, Associate in Teaching. Emma Kirby, Associate of Arts, General Studies. Celeste Jones, Associate in General Studies with honors. Alina Wilkins, Associate in General Studies with honors. Nyla Tay Rogers, Associate in Computer Science. Aiden Taylor, Certificate in Automotive Technology. Logan Guernsey, Certificate in Automotive Technology with honors. Jace Cooper Martin, Associate in General Studies with honors. Dallas Munholland, Associate in Criminal Justice. Gray Eugene Emerson Roberts, Associate in General Studies. Kiefer Wade Lawson, Certificate in Welding Technology, Industrial Welding with honors. Jessica Driver, Associate in Respiratory Therapy. Katrina Walker, Associate in Respiratory Therapy with honors. Sadie Lee Reuter, Associate in Respiratory Therapy. Jacqueline Rose Terabelli, Associate in Respiratory Therapy. Tyler Evans, Certificate in Welding Technology Structural with honors. Hunter Zane Heeman, Associate in Networking Technology. Savannah Bohannon, Associate in Business with honors. Taylor Swickard, Associate in General Studies. Darren Carr, Certificate in Welding Technology Stainless with honors. James Porter III, Certificate in Welding Technology Stainless with honors. Aiden Kayak, Certificate in Stainless Welding. Alexia Ann Wynia, Certificate or Associate in Early Childhood Development with honors. Pantera Ruth Marie Barges, Associate in General Studies. Kendall Murders, Associate of Applied Science, Medical Laboratory Technician. Angela Freeman, Associate in Medical Laboratory Technician with honors. Kirsten Hoffman, Associate and Medical Laboratory Technician. Morgan Angel Helmuth, Associate in Respiratory Therapy with honors. Catherine Spencer Pogue, Associate in Respiratory Therapy. Marcielo Schwartz Leon, Associate in Respiratory Therapy with honors. Haley Clift, Associate in Respiratory Therapy. Amanda Brooke Bays, Associate in Respiratory Therapy with honors. Hara Alamad, Associate in Respiratory Therapy with honors. Ragda Al-Ghazi, Associate in Respiratory Therapy with honors. Keisha Dean, Associate in Respiratory Therapy. Jacob Wayne Tackett, Associate in Respiratory Therapy with honors. Corbin Jackson Heath, Associate in Respiratory Therapy. Timothy Stephen Julara, Associate in Respiratory Therapy with honors. Claude Gassana, Associate of Arts, General Studies. Jenna Louise Gilman, Associate in Criminal Justice. Talia Hendy, Associate and Physical Therapist Assistant. Katrina Miller, Associate and Physical Therapist Assistant with honors. Audrey Williams, Associate of Physical Therapist Assistant. Brett Mason, Associate and Physical Therapist Assistant. Mason Lee Cochran, Associate and Physical Therapist Assistant with honors. Emma Elizabeth Robb, Associate and Physical Therapist Assistant. Catherine Elizabeth Still, Associate and Physical Therapist Assistant with honors. Shelby Diane Haskins, Associate and Physical Therapist Assistant with honors. Callie Camby, Associate and Physical Therapist Assistant. Jonathan Anderson, Associate in Pre-Pharmacy with honors. Garrett Taylor, Associate in Social Work. Lindsay Kelsey, Associate in Business. Stuart Wilson, Associate in Accounting and Business Management. Xander Gibson, Associate in General Studies. Dylan Cody, Associate in Accounting and Business Management. Karen Dayan Fuentes, Associate in General Studies. Sophia Stowe, Associate in Teacher Education with honors. Rachel Gill, Associate in Bioclinical Science with honors. Basette Krozik, Associate in Occupational Therapy Assistant with honors. Caitlin Stewart, Associate in Occupational Therapy Assistant with honors. Sarah Middlestat, Associate in Occupational Therapy Assistant with honors. Brittany Hildebrand, Associate in Occupational Therapy Assistant with honors. Leah Nicole Hyde, Associate in Occupational Therapy Assistant with honors. Nolan Alexander Harrier, Associate in General Studies. Elizabeth Nutter, Associate in Criminal Justice with honors. Lacey Fernandez, Associate in Graphic Design Technology with honors. Daniel Durkee, Associate in Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning. Tyler Christian, Associate in General Studies. Denton Heinrichs, Associate in Physical Therapist Assistant with honors. Bradley Ham, Associate in Physical Therapist Assistant with honors. Jonathan Wenner, Associate in Physical Therapist Assistant with honors. Sophia Anandi Chalapa, Associate in Physical Therapist Assistant with honors. Caitlin Pitzer, Associate in Physical Therapist Assistant. Brooklyn Wade, Associate in Physical Therapist Assistant. Cassandra Leanne Boyce, Associate in Occupational Therapy Assistant with honors. Nina Lee, Associate in Occupational Therapy Assistant with honors. Courtney Dejan Four, Associate in Occupational Therapy Assistant with honors. Abigail Vasilopoulos, Associate Occupational Therapy Assistant with honors. Kate Bildner, Associate in Occupational Therapy Assistant with honors. Michaela Pillant, Associate in Occupational Therapy Assistant with honors. Bailey Ann Massabarger, a Certificate in Drafting and Design Technology. Travis Burrell, Associate in Drafting and Design Technology with honors. Ruby Anderson, Associate in Business and Marketing. Amanda Aletz, Certificate in Early Childhood Development. Samuel Wines, Technology, Certificate in Welding Technology, Stainless Instructional. Nolan A. Boyer, Certificate in Electrical Technician. Rochelle Clark, Certificate in Welding Technology, Stainless with honors. T. Fon, Associate in Fire Science Technology, Fundamental Firefighting with honors. J.L. Robertson, Associate in Business with honors. Colin Shane Lawson, Associate in Electrical Technician with honors. Marissa Smith, Associate in Business. Jennifer Nichols, Certificate in Accounting and Business Management. Tyler Buschert, Associate in Business and Marketing with honors. Ryan Buschert, Associate in Business and Marketing with honors. Brittany Willardson, Associate in General Studies with honors. Pauline Hefner, Certificate in Business and Marketing with honors.
Will all the graduates please stand? Because the recessional is an integral and significant part of the ceremony, we ask that the audience remain in place until the students have exited. I would like to extend my congratulations to all of you, and I wish you the best of luck in your continued education and careers. Let me be the first to welcome you to official membership in the Ozarks Technical Community College Alumni Association. Graduates, to signify your transition from student to graduate, you may now turn your tassels from right to left. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2023 graduating class of Ozarks Technical Community College.